Hi, this is Eric Metcalf, and you're watching the Unhappy Hour.
Broadcasting to you live from the Milky Way galaxy, the solar system, planet Earth, North America, the United States of America, California, Los Angeles to be specific. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unhappy Hour here on the TNAM network. My name is Brian Engelman, and this is The New American Media. And this is a show on the Unhappy Hour, and we cover all things sports. We often ask as we're scrolling through our fun content on our Facebook group. It's a private group called The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. So go ahead and search for it and ask to join. We ask a couple questions. Are you an Indians, Cavs, Browns, or Buckeye fan? Is definitely one of those. But we often ask, is this a sport? When we find fun stuff. And today we're talking about something a little different. We will be joined by Zach Barris in just a moment, former NBA scout, lifelong Cleveland sports fan. We're going to talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers and the NBA playoffs in general. But first, we're going to talk with Darin Campo. Darin and I went to school together back in, Darin. This was, we were in the LEAP program. Yeah, way back in the 90s, before millennials were even a gleam in somebody's eye. But yeah, Darin has had quite the weekend. Darin has earned a berth in the World Series of Poker. And I said, Darin, we got to bring you in and talk about it. Yes, poker is a sport. Poker is a sport of kings and queens. And I think Texas Hold'em, like Doyle Brunson, I really think Texas Hold'em is about the finest game a human being can play. And the cool thing is you can play at any age. You can play at any physical level. It's not like if you have a bum hip like Bo Jackson, you have to quit playing. You can play this thing till you're in your 90s. You can play poker forever. So, Darin, welcome back to the show. Where did it all start? I guess we kind of met each other. Would it have been 5th grade over in the LEAP program?
Yeah, it had to be 5th grade back at Huntington, right?
Yeah, Huntington. It was Learning Enrichment Accelerated Program, the LEAP program for all the smart kids. And Darin and I had our classes together, and then, of course, through middle school and college and what have you, and we've kind of reconnected a little bit at one of our high school reunions, and then staying in with the Unhappy Hour group. Darin, how long have you been in the Unhappy Hour? You been in for about a year or something?
I think a little over a year, yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome. I'm glad to have you there, and I guess let's kind of start off. Should we work our way backwards from the main event, or do you want to kind of set the stage as to when you started playing poker, when you started playing seriously? Because us smart kids, we're all a little weird in some ways, and we're a little talented in other ways. And I guess analytics is kind of your bag, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Basically, any game that involves a deck of cards, I've been drawn to. So I've played cards with my parents and my grandparents and ever since I was a little kid. So cards have just come naturally to me. And over the past few years, I've gotten more into poker, some other competitive card games. I was playing bridge at a pretty competitive level a few years ago. Actually won a national championship in bridge 3 years ago, I think it was.
Wow.
So, yeah, so like I said, with card games, it's just everything has come naturally to me. It's all math and odds and statistics, and that's my bag, as you know.
Exactly. I quite often in the Unhappy Hour, when we have something talking about stats or analytics or averages and percentages, I'll tag Darin and go, Darin, do some homework. Tell us, what are we looking at here? It's pretty great. And I'll pardon the pun where you said you were drawn to cards. That's kind of like a play on words with the flop and then the turn and then the river, of course.
Right.
But yes, okay. So you've been playing for a while. Bridge. Yeah, I know a few people that have been in bridge for a while. But when did the Texas Hold'em thing start? Did that kind of kick in late college, like it did for the rest of us? Kind of when Rounders came out.
I mean, when the whole ESPN started covering the World Series and Hold'em blew up, and online poker was huge. So that's when I really started getting into it, playing, more for fun. I wasn't really a great player back then. I was okay, but I wasn't great. Probably lost more than I won back then, but in the last 5 years, I've definitely turned more into a winning player, studied the game a lot more, put a lot more hours into learning and the math behind it. And I've done pretty well over the last few years. It's been a nice little side income.
That's fantastic. And you know, we were talking, what was it, yesterday, probably the day before, we were kind of saying, hey, you know, oh, so you're in a tournament. That sounds pretty cool. Post some updates in the group. And we talked offline, and I just said, hey, we should do a show. But wait a minute, should we do a show before or after? And we kind of decided, all right, let's wait till after, because if you didn't do so well, you might not be in the mood to talk, and so be it. We'll catch up later. But if you win, when you win, there's going to be a lot more to talk about. So tell us about the tournament that you entered and how that ended up getting you a seat bought for you at the World Series of Poker coming up here.
Yeah, sure. So I play at a local club here in Dayton. It's a private club, but it's free to join, and anybody could join. You can just walk in and sign up for the club. And probably, what was it, mid-November, or no, maybe early December, they started this tournament series. There's a few tournament series for that were getting into the World Series of Poker. And it was basically like a league. You would play 1 or 2 tournaments a week with varying buy-ins between $25 and $80. And over the 35 tournaments, part of the money would go towards these World Series of Poker seats, and part of the money would go towards the prize pool. So over 35 weeks, we ended up raising $22,000 for World Series of Poker seats. So we had 2 packages, where the package is a $10,000 main event buy-in and $1,000 cash. So what happened with the league is every tournament you did well in, you would get points. So say you ended in the top 5, you would get some number of points. And then there would be some payouts for the top 2 or 3 players.
Is that kind of like NASCAR or hockey, where, you know, if you tie, you don't have to win it to get some points?
Right. So what they did is they took 20% of the entries, and that many people got points. So say there was 30 entrants, 6 players would get points.
Whoa. Slow down there, egghead. No, I'm just kidding.
So yeah, then what they did is at the end of the series, they took the top 8 point getters, and those players went straight to the final table. And then everybody who was within 20% of the point leader played in a wild card tournament, and that was played on Friday night. And the 2 top finishers in that joined the 8 of us that were at the final table. So that ended up as a final table of 10 players with 2 seats available. So it's pretty good chance to get a World Series Poker seat at that point.
And so at the final table, then there's 10 people and 2 people are going to the show. That's how that works.
Yep.
Walk us through the event then. You're at the final table. Walk us through this.
So starting with 10 players, the players at the points lead started with 50,000 in chips, and everybody else started with a percentage of his chips based on the percentage of points. So that, you know, was a kind of an incentive to be the point leader. So I was probably middle of the pack in starting. I ended up in 5th place. So I had like 35,000 in chips, which wasn't a big deal. Not too big of a deficit there, you know. So so 10 of us started playing. The tournament structure was great. It was very long blind levels, so there was a lot of play. It wasn't a real fast tournament. It ended up taking 12 hours.
Oh.
It was 2 hours until we lost our first player.
Whoa. And the blinds are doubling at this point? The blinds are being raised automatically?
Yeah, the blinds, I can't remember. I think we started out at 75 and 150.
Okay.
With like a 35,000 chip average. So, you know, most people had a lot of blinds. So there weren't a lot of stacks going in early. You know, it was just a lot of small pots chipping up here and there. And the way this tournament is set up is first place was a seat, second place was a seat, and third place got nothing. 3rd through 10th got nothing.
Ugh.
So yeah, so the idea is
So that's like, hold on, that's like 4th place in the Olympics?
yeah, exactly.
Nothing. Okay.
Right. So the idea in this type of tournament is not to try to acquire all the chips. Like in most tournaments, you want to acquire all the chips so you win the top prize. The idea in this one is to just survive. You survive, outlast the other 8 players, and you get a seat. I mean, second place, I ended up in second place. The other guy had more chips than me at the end. But, yeah, so, like, there's, you know, if I would have ended up with 1 chip at the end and third place had none, I go. So you don't need to have a ton of chips in this one to win a seat. You just need to survive.
So what was there a quintessential hand? Was there something that kind of bumped you up from the middle of the pack there, or was it just grinding?
For the most part, it was grinding. I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think I was probably one of the top 2 or 3 players at the table. So I kind of took control of that early on and was very aggressive, picking up a lot of small pots without seeing flops, picking up, you know, raising and re-raising, and, you know, just doing standard aggressive type play, and built up a decent number of chips. And I think about 3 or 4 hours in, we were 7-handed at the time. I had about 115,000 of the 370,000 chips in play. So I was doing real well at that point, and ended up getting into a big hand where I flopped top 2 pair against somebody with the flush draw, the ace-high flush draw, and we got it all in on the flop for about 60K apiece. And he ended up hitting the club to knocked me down to about 40,000 chips. So, so everything was going great. Ended up dropping down to 40K. Lost a couple more pots. I was down to 21K, and I was probably the second shortest stack at the table at that point. And just started grinding it back up. Got all in behind and drew out once. That was the only time in the entire tournament I was all in and called. So I was kind of happy with that. But, you know, once in a while you got to get it in bad and suck out. But
it happens, man. I mean, it's hard to pick a champion that hasn't had a little bit of luck. Like, mathematics only takes you so far. I like to say with poker, by the way, in full disclosure, I used to play poker. I would bartend in college, and then I would play poker until the sun would come up. So we'd all get off work and go to somebody's place, one of the bar backs, one of the bartenders, one of the regulars, or what have you, and I'd play cards until the sun would come up. And, you know, there's something about that game, but, I mean, it's hard to point to champions that don't get occasionally lucky. It's mathematics, but I used to always say, you know, you're playing the percentages, you're playing the person, and you're playing the table. So it's kind of like there's 3 different games at once where you really just have to have your finger on the pulse, and you got to go for it. You have to trust your gut instinct, your intuition. Would you say you're more of a math and analytical guy, or more of a gut feel instinct guy? I mean, I would guess math, but what do you say?
I'd say it's about 85% math for me and like 15% table reads.
Got it.
So, and that's mainly because I played online for a long time, and you don't get the live reads on an online table because you don't see the players. So all you can go by is the math, and you know how many hands do they enter, what type of hands are they raising with early, what type of hands are they raising with in late position. So once you figure out players' ranges and what kind of hands they can have, it makes it a lot easier to play your cards against their range. So yeah, it was a pretty exciting evening. I made probably a real great fold, I would say, on a hand where I have ace-queen on a ace-10-5-4 board, and was check-raised all in on the turn. So this was when we were 4-handed, and it was the only person at the table that covered me. I ended up folding my ace queen there. He claims he had ace 10. I kind of believe him. It seems like a reasonable hand to do that with, but in that spot I just have to fold because all I need to do is outlast the other two players who have shorter stacks than I do. So yeah.
Yeah, there's no need to be a cowboy in a lot of these occasions. Right. You know, but there is something that can be said about being known as, I guess maybe one of the things I was known as is maybe a reckless player or a, my buddy Mike from Brunswick also, he was a pitcher in Little League, and he used to bean a couple of people at almost every game, but he'd also throw no-hitters. So they would call him effectively wild. He was so wild that you were just like scared to even be in that batter box, and he would just intimidate you. So, you know, I would play entire games reading magazines. This is before cell phones. And, you know, I'd play entire games reading magazines and not paying. They would think I wasn't paying attention. Of course I was. But, you know, I loved the bluff. I loved letting people see that I would play and re-raise on nothing, and I would check with the nut. Like, I loved showing everybody that I would regularly play with that they had no idea what to expect out of me. And then I just got a read on their vibe. So I was more like 50-50, 40-60 with instinct, you know, percentages and how are you looking with the chances. You know, obviously, if you're going for a gut shot, an inside straight draw or something, you know, where only a 7 can help you and there's already a, you know, there's a certain amount of math that goes into it for sure. People like Negreanu and what have you. You know, you don't accidentally keep making the final table. There's a science to it. But, you know, I love that cerebral mind game component to it. You know, kind of like LeBron inside of the heads of the Toronto Raptors. It's just fun watching somebody who just owns the other people they're competing against. It's pretty fantastic. But, you know, the sexy thing, like with rounders or what have you, it's that big all-in moment where, you know, you double your chip stack. But it seems like, to me, your biggest move of the night was folding your hand when the other guy at least claimed to have ace-10. And that's the biggest move you remember. It's not doubling it up from all-in, that sexy move. It was not getting suckered into something that was going to cost you dearly. Is that a fair representation?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. So, you know, I've always said I'd rather make a bad fold than a bad call. Because a bad fold, you're still going to have chips behind. You're still going to be playing the tournament. If you make a bad call, you're out. So, to me, you know, sometimes you just have to make a tough laydown and fold the cards and try to get another hand and try to get chips on another hand, you know.
So this is where we cue some know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em music. We'll do that.
Exactly.
Okay, so then you got an oversized check. I was on a game show with Carlton from Fresh Prince. It was called Catch 21 on the Game Show Network. I didn't even get an oversized check. I thought that would have been super cool. That was a good, you know, I had a good day, but not an oversized check good day. Like, so do you actually have that? Is that what you take to a bank? What do you do with that?
And no, it's more of just more of a trophy for us to keep. They gave us $1,000 in cash last night so we could start planning our trip, and then the owner of the club will be out there in Vegas at the beginning of the main event. And
that's great.
He'll go to the cage with us and buy us in. So that way, you know, he's not handing us $10K right now and saying, you know, hold on to this for a month and a half.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna ask. Like, are you actually getting cash and you're going, should I just buy a used Kia all in cash, or should I? What do I do here? So they're definitely buying you in. It's not like you got your 10K plus your 1K. They gave you the 1K, and they're going to walk you up there and buy you in at the event. That's how it's rolling?
Exactly.
Okay, that's a smart strategy, I would say. Hey, I got people in the chat room, by the way. If you're in the chat room over here on this camera, it's Facebook group. It's a private group. The Unhappy Hour Sports Show, a support group. If you're not in it, join it. If you're in it, invite your friends who like sports. I want to say hi to Chris and Christopher and Matt and Greg and Mike and Dwayne and everybody else. I want to go to a couple questions, Darin, and then I'll let you kind of get going here. I know we probably want to talk to you again before this thing starts. We want to follow your journey here. We want to try to outfit you with a hat for the Unhappy Hour or something. See if we can get you sponsored like a FedEx driver or something, or like a NASCAR driver rather. But anyway, Christopher Ford, he's asking, what player do you like best? Or what books have you read to help you with your game? So that's a two-parter. Are there any players you kind of look at as inspiration or role models or mentors? And then have you read any books that have helped you with the game?
Yeah, I'll start with the books part because I'm big into books, and there's a lot of books on poker. There's a lot of good books, a lot of bad books. Some of the best that I've read, especially if you're a small stakes player, a local 1-2 cash game or, $25, $50 tournaments. Books by a guy named Jonathan Little. He's a great mathematical, analytical guy. So yeah, he's written a bunch of books that I would wholly recommend. In fact, I'm listening to one of his audiobooks, right now in the car every day to work. So, but that's a good one. As far as players that I like to watch, Negreanu's always a good one to watch. But some of these new players that have come out, especially there's a lot of German players that are insanely good, playing in these super high roller events that are $100,000 buy-ins. They're great. Like there's a guy named Ike Haxton who's a real good player. Patrick Antonius is a good player. So there's a lot of good players to watch. It's really hard to try to copy a style though. Like you can try, but these guys have built up an image with their other competitors that they've lasted. They've done these things for so long that image is known to the other competitors, so it's easier for them to fake a hand or to make a big bluff or to make a big bet that looks like a bluff that's when they actually have the goods. So it's hard
So
to
are
really
you
emulate another player.
So are you saying that some of these players, when they build their public persona, they know that other people are aware of the public persona, so then they kind of do the opposite of what's expected?
Absolutely.
I love it. It's such a head game. I love the chess component. I love
levels upon levels.
levels upon levels. That's fantastic. Okay, cool. Well then, yeah, check out Jonathan Little, some of his books, and so the World Series of Poker. Let's start wrapping this up, and we'll bring you back in. We want to kind of follow your journey here. So
Sure.
walk us through. When do the events start? When does the main event happen? What are the timelines of what's about to start moving forward for you in 2018?
Sure. So if any of your viewers don't know, the World Series of Poker isn't just the main event. There's 60 some odd events every year, and they start late May, early June, and run through the middle of July.
Okay.
So it's a long tournament series with buy-ins that range from $500 up to $50,000 or $100,000. So yeah.
Wait. Hold on. Let me back up. I thought anybody with 10K could jump in and play in the World Series of Poker. What does it take to get in? Why are some buy-ins different? What does that mean?
So a lot of the smaller events, they've got $1,500 2-day or 3-day events, and then some of the bigger events, the $50,000 Poker Players Championships, they're all open events. Anybody with the cash can just go in and buy. And then obviously there's the main event, which is the 10K buy-in, which got 8,500, 9,000 players will play at.
Wow. Wow.
So that's the big one, really. That one generates the highest prize pool, even though it doesn't have the highest buy-in. Just because everybody wants to be in the main event, right?
Yeah, of course.
That's everybody's dream.
What was the last winner? What did the last winner walk away with? Do you recall?
8.15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a good day.
So hopefully that'll be a little higher when I win it this year, but
Hey.
So, yeah, so actually I played one of the smaller events last year, one of the $1,500 events. I went out last summer with the family, and I played one of the smaller events, and lasted about 7 hours into day one. I had an extremely tough table draw. There was a guy named Jeffrey Lissandro, who's one of the best players in the world, was at my table for the first 4 hours, and then after he got busted, Jason Mercier, some people might know him, took his spot, and he was the 2016 World Series Poker Player of the Year. So went from really tough to really, really tough. So
what a draw!
A difficult table.
Yeah, I'd say so. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, that's got to be something else, man. Playing with the big dogs. It's like for all the keyboard warriors that want to talk trash about LeBron James. It's like, you know, the difference between poker and basketball is, you can't even imagine going to play a game against a champion on a basketball court, but you can sit down and flop some cards. You can move some chips against anybody, and I think that's one of the coolest things. Let's wrap this up here because I want to follow when you're the event that you're getting into is exactly what date. You have the exact date, and is that in Vegas then for the qualifying rounds, or when is that again?
Yeah, it's all in Vegas.
Okay. Riviera? Where do they do that?
The Rio.
Rio. Okay.
Yeah, just off strip at the Rio. It's got a huge conference hall. That's why they do it there.
Of course, yeah.
The only place that can really support that many players and tables. But yeah, so July 2nd, there'll be 3 day ones in this main event. So July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th are all day ones. My plan is to fly out to Vegas on the 2nd, and most likely I haven't decided if I'm going to play day 1B or day 1C. There's advantages to both. Day 1C usually has the highest number of players, so there's more chips in play. That means you can usually build a larger stack. But with day 1B, you get a day off between day 1, day 2, and day 3 if you make it that far. Which, if you play day 1C, you get a day off between day 1 and day 2, but then you go straight from day 2 into day 3. And then after day 3, you play every day for, until winter, which is usually about another 7 or 8 days. So it's a 2-week-long tournament.
Wow.
It'll go from July 2nd to the 17th. It'll be when the champions crowned.
That is awesome. Yeah, we got to get you outfitted with something from the Unhappy Hour. I want to see you at the. I want to see you on ESPN rocking the Unhappy Hour gear. Darin Campo playing with the big dogs.
That's one of the goals is to be on the feature table at least once.
Hey, if you're there once, it means you got a chance to stay there for the whole thing. Like,
absolutely.
That's a silly thing. It's like somebody has to win these things. Why not you? Especially if you can do 12 hours and you can grind it out, then you got the potential to outlast anybody else who's gonna, start waning. Because these things are endurance.
Absolutely.
Did you get a massage? Was there a massage person?
Not last night, no.
Okay. I didn't know if that's mandatory for these 12-hour things or not.
We had breaks every couple hours. So
okay.
You get around and get up and walk around.
All right.
It's the same way the World Series will be. World Series, you're going to play 10 hours of poker a day, and you'll get a 20-minute or 30-minute break every 2 hours. So it's not bad.
Well, that was...
With playing last year, I have some experience at it now that I think will help pay off.
Yeah, so maybe last year that was like the Philadelphia 76ers. Last year you didn't really know what you were getting into and you made some mistakes, and now you're like, okay, all right, I get it. Lay of the land. I understand this thing. All right, well, let me leave with this last question then, because, we're talking about the endurance factor and planning the trip and how many days. Final question here from Chris Ford. He says, do you do this for a living, or how do you get off work for that long to play in this tournament? That's a good logistical question, actually.
Yeah, it's a very good question, actually. I do not do it for a living yet. Hopefully after July I will be, but no. I've been at my job for 17 years now, and I've built up. I get 4 weeks of vacation and a week of sick leave every year.
Okay.
So I've got 5 weeks of vacation that I haven't touched really. So I'll just talk to my boss tomorrow and be like, hey, I'm taking at least 1 week off at the beginning of July. And if I make it past the first week, I'm going to be taking a second week. And if I make it to the end, I'm probably just going to be taking a leave of absence.
Exactly. See, and that's so brilliant of you to not even quit. You're just, I'm going to take a leave of absence. I'm quitting without quitting. We're going to do all right. I got 8.1.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna leave on good terms, but I ain't coming back. That's great.
Give me a year in case things go poorly, and then I got something to fall back on.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe you could go all Hollywood with it, go all Vegas, and let it get to you. Okay, well, Darin, look, like I said at the beginning of the show, we were talking about doing this, and we delayed it and said let's wait until afterward. It's fantastic that you won that damn thing, because there were 2 seats. You came in second, but that's a win, which gets you in. That's all that we were counting for. It doesn't matter. All that counts is that you got that buy-in, and it's kind of, you've graduated onto that next level. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. I want to stick with you and follow you through this journey. So in the next couple weeks, we should reconnect again as it starts getting a little bit closer to the World Series of Poker, and we can kind of amp this up and hopefully cheer you on to get some TV time, and who knows, maybe even a sweet leave of absence, Darin.
Absolutely. Sounds good, man.
All right, brother. Well, thanks for coming on and joining us today. We will do this again soon. Best of luck to you, and obviously text me offline. We'll keep me abreast of the developments, and definitely as you're getting ready to go out there, we got to do this again and kind of talk about how you're preparing and, if you can even prepare. We have a whole other batch of questions we could get to, because I could talk poker for days, and I'm sure you could as well. So, all right, Darin, I'll let you get back to your evening on the East Coast. Thank you again for your time. Congratulations on winning your buy into the World Series of Poker, and I'm really looking forward to talking with you again soon, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, have a good evening. Take care. All right, guys, there goes Darin. I think that's fantastic. Darin was able to win his way in to the World Series of Poker. Man, that's cool. No matter how good you are as a golfer, I doubt you're going to be able to get on the links and compete with Tiger Woods in his prime. LeBron James. Like, how are you going to get on a basketball court? You can't just do that. You can't just step in and, hit a I don't know, a Corey Kluber slider or something. But poker is one of those great equalizer games. It's just flopping cards, moving some chips. You can do that at any time in your life, and I love that. I really like that about poker. It's why it's one of my favorite games. So, okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to press pause. We're going to start another show. I'm going to bring in Zach Barris. We're going to talk about Cleveland Cavaliers and all things NBA. Since there's a few of you in the chat room, I'll just keep this one going, and then I'll restart this one here, and then we'll get Zach onto the program.